God knows what they are saying behind your back. You see, life has a way of presenting us with situations where people may talk about us, criticize us, and judge us unfairly. But here's the truth: God is always listening. While people may whisper their opinions or spread rumors, God hears it all. He knows every word, every thought, and every intention that comes from the hearts of those who speak against you. Now, let me tell you something powerful. God's plan for your life is greater than their words. The same God who created you, who formed you in your mother's womb, knows exactly what you're going through. He knows the battles you're fighting, even when no one else sees them. He knows the pain you're enduring when others don't understand. And he knows the truth about you, even when people try to twist it. People will always have something to say about you, but you have to remember that their words don't define your worth. Their opinions don't shape your future. The one who created you, the one who called you by name, he is the one who defines who you are. And when they speak against you, God hears it all. He is not blind to the attacks or the lies. He is not deaf to the mockery. And he is not indifferent to the pain it causes you. But understand, this God is not only listening, he is also working behind the scenes. While they are talking, God is orchestrating your promotion. While they are criticizing, God is preparing your breakthrough. While they are doubting you, God is strengthening you. The Bible tells us that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. That includes the weapons of gossip, slander, and false accusations. God sees everything, and he will fight your battles. When people talk behind your back, it's a reflection of their character, not yours. It's easy for someone to tear you down when they don't know your heart, when they don't know your journey, when they don't understand your struggles. But God knows, and he knows your heart. He knows your desire to serve him. He knows the integrity you carry within you. He knows the dreams he's placed inside of you. And he will not allow anyone to derail his purpose for your life. So when you hear those whispers, when you see the smirks, when you feel the weight of what they're saying behind your back, remember that God is on your side. He is your defender. He is your advocate. He will vindicate you. You don't have to fight back with words because God is already fighting for you. And when the time comes, the truth will be revealed and you will rise above it all. Stay focused on your purpose. Keep walking in the path that God has set for you. And trust that he knows exactly what they are saying behind your back, and he's already got a plan to turn it around for your good. Stay faithful to God and let him fight your battles, because when he fights, no one can stand against him. And when he vindicates you, no one can take that away. God hears it all. Every word spoken, every whisper, every thought, and every intention that people have against you, God hears it. It doesn't matter where they are, who they are, or how quietly they speak. God is never caught off guard. While you may not be able to hear the things people are saying behind your back, God is always present and he is always listening. He knows the deepest secrets of the heart and nothing is hidden from his sight. This is a powerful truth to hold on to, especially in times when others are plotting against you or speaking ill of you. You might think that the words spoken in secret behind closed doors and behind your back are powerless, but understand, God is a righteous judge and he is the one who weighs the truth. People may say things out of malice, jealousy, or misunderstanding, but God knows the real story. He knows your heart. He knows your struggles. He knows your intentions, your motivations, and the path you are walking. And even when others misinterpret or distort the truth, God sees you for who you truly are. He is never deceived by the lies or the gossip. What they say cannot overshadow what he knows. God hears it all because he is the ultimate protector of your reputation. While others may try to tear you down, spread rumors, or falsely accuse you, he is aware of everything. And he will never leave you in a place where falsehoods can prevail over the truth. The Bible assures us that God is a righteous judge who will always bring justice to those who are wronged. So when they speak behind your back, take comfort in knowing that God, the creator of all, is listening and that his judgment will always prevail over the lies of man. God's plan for your life is far greater than the words and opinions of others. While people may criticize you, doubt you, or attempt to tear you down, their words do not have the power to alter the destiny that God has already written for you. God, who formed you and set you apart before you were even born, has a purpose for your life that is not contingent on the approval or opinions of others. His plan is much bigger than their criticisms or the temporary judgments they place on you. When people talk behind your back, it may feel painful in the moment. It might even make you question your worth or the direction you're heading. But let me remind you that your worth is not determined by their limited perspective or their flawed view of who you are. Their words cannot change God's plan for you, and they certainly cannot stop what God is doing in your life. He has already declared your destiny, and it is greater than anything anyone else can say or do. Think about it. When God calls you to something, no one can stop it. When He gives you a vision, no one can take it away. People may try to distract you, criticize your path, or even discourage you, but none of that will alter what God has already set in motion. His plan for you is eternal, and it stands firm regardless of the opinions and judgments of others. You may face opposition, but know that God has already gone ahead of you and prepared a way for you to succeed. When you trust God's plan for your life, you can stand firm in the knowledge that nothing anyone says or does can derail your journey. They may not see what God sees in you, but that's because His vision for your life is not confined to their narrow understanding. His purpose for you is limitless, and it transcends anything the world can offer. Trust in His timing, His wisdom, and His sovereignty, for He is the author and finisher of your faith. While others may criticize and misunderstand, God is shaping you, refining you, and leading you into the future He has already prepared for you. God knows your struggles even when no one else does. In life, we all go through challenges, many of which are unseen by the world around us. You might be facing personal battles, emotional pain, or struggles in your relationships, and often people don't see the weight you carry. But here's the good news: God sees it all. He knows every tear you've cried in silence, every sleepless night you've spent wondering how you're going to make it through, every moment you felt overwhelmed, alone, or misunderstood. While others may not understand the depth of your pain or the strength it's taking to keep moving forward, God does. You see, God is not distant from your suffering. He is intimately acquainted with all your ways. The Bible tells us that He is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. You may feel like you're facing your struggles alone, but God is right there with you, walking beside you, feeling your pain and providing the strength you need to endure. He doesn't just know about your challenges. He knows what it's like to walk through them with you. He knows your heart's cry, even when you can't find the words to express it. God knows what you're dealing with because He is the one who formed you and understands every part of you. He knows the weight of the burdens you carry. Even when others don't see them, you don't have to explain it to Him because He already knows. He is the one who shaped you, who gave you the resilience to endure, and who provides the comfort you need in your darkest moments. When people can't empathize with your struggles, God does. When you feel like you're fighting a battle that no one else understands, God sees every single part of it. He also knows what you're learning through your struggles. While others may see your hardship as a setback, God sees it as an opportunity for growth, transformation, and preparation for the future He has in store for you. He uses these challenges to mold you, to build your character, and to strengthen your faith. God is not distant from your pain. He is right in the midst of it, teaching you, refining you, and drawing you closer to Him. So when it feels like no one else understands, remember this: God sees you. He knows exactly what you're going through, and He has not forgotten you. His presence is with you in every trial, and His love surrounds you even in the darkest moments. You don't have to carry your struggles alone because God is with you, and He will carry you through. God knows the truth about you, even when others try to distort it. People will speak against you, misunderstand your intentions, and accuse you of things you didn't do. But here's the ultimate reality: God knows the truth. He knows your heart. He knows your motives. And He knows the life you've lived. When others try to label you based on rumors or false assumptions, they may only see a fraction of your story. They may not know the battles you've fought, the sacrifices you've made, or the intentions behind your actions. But God does. He sees beyond the surface, beyond the misunderstandings and the misjudgments, and He sees the real you, the person you are in your heart. In a world that can be quick to judge, quick to assume, and quick to spread gossip, it can sometimes feel as if the truth gets lost in the noise. People may hear one side of a story, or they may let their biases shape their opinions about you. But God knows the full story. He knows the journey you've walked, the experiences that have shaped you, and the deep inner struggles you've faced. When you feel like others are defining you by their own limited understanding, remember that God, who sees all things, knows the real you. He understands the context behind every action, every word, and every decision you've made. People may see you for what they want to see or what they've heard about you, but God sees your true character. He knows the purity of your intentions, even when others misinterpret them. He knows the pain you carry inside, even when you don't express it to anyone. God is not deceived by appearances, and he cannot be misled by false information. His knowledge of you is complete and unshakable. When the world is quick to judge or criticize, God is slow to anger, rich in mercy, and just in his understanding. He is not swayed by public opinion. He sees you not for who others say you are, but for who he knows you truly are. And because God knows the truth, you can rest in his justice. When people try to tarnish your reputation or speak lies about you, you don't need to fight back with words. The one who knows the truth will fight for you. The Bible tells us that vengeance belongs to the Lord. It is not your job to defend yourself against false accusations or to prove others wrong. God already knows the truth, and in his time, the truth will come to light. He is the ultimate judge, and he will vindicate you in ways that no one else can. Trust that God's justice will prevail, and in the end, his truth about you will shine brighter than any lie spoken against you. So when others try to define you by their limited view or judge you based on incomplete information, remember that God knows the truth. His understanding of you is perfect and complete. He sees your heart, your struggles, your victories, and everything in between. And no matter what anyone else may say, his truth will always stand firm. Their words don't define you. What people say about you, especially when they speak behind your back, holds no weight when compared to who God says you are. In this world, people can be quick to judge, to label, and to criticize. Their words, whether spoken in malice, misunderstanding, or even ignorance, can sometimes feel like they are trying to shape your identity. But let me tell you this, those words are powerless when it comes to defining who you are in the eyes of God. The only voice that matters is God's. The only opinion that has the authority to shape your life is God's opinion of you. People may see you in a certain light. They may make assumptions about you based on what they think they know, but they don't have the final say. They don't know your heart, your struggles, or the intimate details of your life. Only God knows the depths of your soul, and only he has the authority to label you. He says you are more than a conqueror. He says you are forgiven, redeemed, and restored. He says that you are valuable, capable, and destined for greatness. No amount of gossip, slander, or judgment from others can take that away from you. It's important to understand that people's words may reflect their own insecurities, fears, and biases. When someone speaks negatively about you, it often has more to do with them than with you. It could be a reflection of their own struggles or jealousy. It could be their way of coping with their own weaknesses. But you do not need to internalize their words as your truth. Their opinions don't have the power to limit your potential, and their criticisms can't hold you back from the future God has prepared for you. God's truth about you is unshakable. While people may try to build you up one moment and tear you down the next, God's view of you is constant. He sees you as a masterpiece created with purpose and destined for success. When you hold on to this truth, you free yourself from the burden of seeking validation from others. You no longer need to rely on their opinions to determine your worth. You stand firm in the knowledge that you are enough just as you are, and you are exactly who God intended you to be. So when others speak against you, remember that their words don't define you. Their opinions cannot change your identity in Christ. Keep your eyes on the truth that God has spoken over your life, and allow his voice to be the one that guides you. You are not what they say you are. You are who God says you are. And he has called you to greatness, equipped you for every challenge, and destined you for victory. God will protect your reputation even when others try to destroy it. When people speak behind your back, when they spread lies, gossip, or false rumors about you, it can feel as though your reputation is under attack. It can feel like the truth is being overshadowed by the falsehoods others are putting out there. But here's the incredible truth you can hold on to: God is your defender, and He will protect you in ways that no one else can. While people may try to tear down your reputation, God is the one who will uphold it. He is the one who will guard your name and shield your integrity from the attacks of the enemy. Think about how many times in Scripture we see God defending His people. From Joseph, who was falsely accused and thrown into prison, to David, who was slandered by Saul, God continuously protected their reputations, even when circumstances seemed bleak, when the world was against them, and when they were misunderstood by others. God was faithful to protect them and bring them to a place of victory. The same God who did that for them is the same God who will do it for you. He is your shield, your protector, and He will never allow the lies or the false accusations of others to stand in the way of His plan for your life. When others speak against you, it's easy to feel the weight of it. It's easy to want to defend yourself, to fight back with words, to prove the truth. But sometimes God calls us to remain silent and trust that He will be our defender. His power to defend you is greater than your own ability to argue or convince others of your innocence. When you try to defend yourself, you might get caught up in the noise and the conflict, but when you trust in God's protection, you give Him the space to act on your behalf. You allow Him to fight your battles, to silence the false accusations, and to elevate your reputation in the eyes of those who matter. God has a way of vindicating His people in ways that no one expects. Just as He brought Joseph out of prison to a place of honor and power, just as He exposed the truth of David's heart to those around him, God will bring clarity and truth to your situation. He will expose the lies, and He will not allow your reputation to be destroyed by those who seek to tear you down. His timing is perfect, and His justice is always right. When you trust in Him, you allow Him to do what only He can do: bring truth to light and protect you from harm. And even when it seems like the attacks against you are winning, remember that God's ways are higher than ours. He often uses these moments of false accusation or slander as a stepping stone to bring us to a greater place of influence and purpose. Just as He used Joseph's time in prison to prepare him for leadership, and David's time of being hunted to mold him into the king He intended him to be, God can use the very things meant to harm you to bring about His glory and your greater good. Trust in God's protection over your reputation. Don't allow the negative words or false accusations of others to take root in your heart. When you surrender your reputation to God, you give Him the authority to defend you and protect your name. Rest in the assurance that the one who knows the truth will stand with you, guard you, and elevate you in the eyes of others in His perfect timing. God knows your heart. Even when others misunderstand your intentions, it is easy for people to make assumptions about us, especially when they only see the surface of our actions and don't understand the heart behind them. People will judge based on what they see or hear, and sometimes their judgment will be wrong. They may think they understand your motives, but they don't have access to the deep places of your heart. They don't know your true intentions, your struggles, or the challenges you are facing. But God does. He sees your heart in its entirety, and He understands the motivations behind every decision you make, every word you speak, and every action you take. While others may misinterpret your actions or intentions, God sees beyond the surface. He knows why you do what you do. He knows your heart better than anyone else ever could. Sometimes you might be misjudged by others who don't understand the full story. They may not know what led you to make a particular choice, why you acted a certain way, or what struggles you are facing in your life. They might make assumptions based on their own limited understanding or past experiences, but the truth is, only God knows the full picture. He sees the struggles you face in private, the sacrifices you make in secret, and the internal battles you fight every day. He understands the context of your actions in a way that no one else can. When others misunderstand you, it can be frustrating, especially when their misjudgments affect your reputation or cause unnecessary conflict. But God is not confused or misled by what others may think of you. He knows the heart and He knows the truth. God is not looking at you through the lens of outward appearances or assumptions. He is looking at your heart. He is looking at your faith, your love, your compassion, and your desire to do what is right, even when it's hard. He understands the sacrifices you've made and the reasons behind your decisions, even when others fail to see them. While others may be quick to judge you based on what they think they know, God sees you as you truly are. He sees the goodness in your heart, the purity of your intentions, and the effort you put into doing what is right, even when it's not easy. And here's the beauty of it: when others misunderstand you, God will guide you through it. He will help you navigate the pain and frustration that comes from being misjudged, and He will bring clarity to those who are willing to listen. Trust in His timing and His ability to reveal the truth. God has a way of turning misunderstandings into opportunities for growth, for teaching others, and for showing His glory. Sometimes when people misjudge us, it gives God the opportunity to reveal the truth in a more profound way. It becomes a platform for God to prove that He knows our hearts and that His ways are higher than our own. When you face the frustration of being misunderstood, take comfort in the fact that God is not confused. He is not swayed by the opinions of others, and He is not influenced by surface-level judgments. He sees your heart, He understands your intentions, and He will honor your faithfulness. Keep your heart pure, trust in His understanding, and know that in the end, God will bring clarity and truth. His knowledge of your heart will always prevail over the misunderstandings of others. God knows the truth even when others twist it. In this world, it's easy for the truth to become distorted or manipulated. People often twist facts to fit their own narrative, to justify their actions, or to discredit someone else. Sometimes, in the face of your integrity and honesty, others will choose to twist the truth, turning it into something that does not align with reality. They may spread lies, exaggerate situations, or misrepresent your actions in a way that paints you in a negative light. But here is where you find comfort and strength. God knows the truth. He sees everything as it truly is, without distortion, without misunderstanding. Even when the world around you distorts the reality, God is the ultimate witness to your truth. You see, people may twist your words, misrepresent your intentions, or completely fabricate situations to suit their agenda. They may use half-truths or misunderstandings to attack your character or discredit your actions. In those moments, it can feel as though the truth is slipping away and there's nothing you can do to correct the situation. But don't be discouraged, because while others can distort the truth, they cannot alter it in the eyes of God. He knows what really happened. He knows what you truly said, and He knows what was in your heart when you made every decision. No matter how much others try to twist the truth, they cannot change God's view of you. God is the ultimate judge of truth, and His judgment is never clouded by the lies or misconceptions of others. He sees the entire picture, the actions, the motivations, and the circumstances that led to every moment in your life. People can try to manipulate the facts, but they cannot manipulate God's understanding. God's truth is absolute, and His perception of your life is not swayed by the lies of others. When you trust in God's truth, you are anchored in a reality that will never change, no matter what others may say. It's easy to get caught up in the desire to correct the misrepresentation or to fight against the lies being told about you. The temptation is strong to want to set the record straight, to defend yourself, and to prove that you are in the right. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let God be the one to reveal the truth. He is the one who will expose the lies for what they are. In His perfect timing, God will clear your name, and the truth will be revealed to those who matter. You don't need to fight to prove yourself, because God, the ultimate truth bearer, is fighting for you. Throughout Scripture, we see many instances where God defended His people against false accusations. From Moses, who was accused by his own siblings, to Job, who was wrongly judged by his friends, God stepped in to defend their integrity and reveal the truth. He made sure that the false narratives were broken, and He lifted up those who had been unjustly accused. In the same way, God will protect you from the distortions of others. He will ensure that the truth about your life will ultimately prevail, because He is the one who holds the final word. Even when it feels like the lies are winning, remember that God is the final authority. His truth will stand, and no amount of manipulation or deception can alter the course of His plan for your life. Keep your focus on God's truth and trust that in the end, the truth will be known. God knows the truth, and He will reveal it at the right time to the right people, in the right way. You don't need to fight against the distortion of the truth. God is already fighting for you. His truth is more powerful than any lie, and it will shine through when the time is right. God will use your enemies for your good, even when they try to harm you. It's a powerful and transformative truth that, when understood, can change the way you view conflict, opposition, and even betrayal. Many of us go through life believing that enemies are a sign that we are on the wrong path, that their opposition is a reflection of failure or inadequacy. But when you look through the lens of faith, you realize that God has a way of taking the actions of those who mean you harm and turning them into something that will ultimately benefit you. God, in his infinite wisdom, has the ability to use the negative energy of your enemies to propel you toward greater purpose, to mold you into the person he has called you to be. When Joseph was betrayed by his brothers and sold into slavery, the circumstances looked dire. From the surface, it seemed like his life was headed in the wrong direction. He went from being a favored son to being a slave in a foreign land. But Joseph knew something that we must all learn, that no matter how great the opposition or how unfair the circumstances, God can turn it all around. What his brothers meant for harm selling him into slavery became the very path that God used to elevate Joseph to a place of authority and power in Egypt. His enemies' actions meant to destroy him became the platform for his destiny. In the end, when Joseph had the opportunity to confront his brothers, he didn't seek revenge or harbor bitterness. Instead, he spoke profound words. You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. This is the beauty of God's sovereignty. He is never caught off guard by the attacks or the opposition we face. He is never surprised by the schemes of the enemy. In fact, he has the power to take what was meant to harm us and use it to fulfill his purpose for our lives. When others speak against you, try to destroy your reputation, or work behind the scenes to hinder your progress, understand that God is not only aware of it, but he is also using it to position you for something greater. Every attempt by your enemies to bring you down can be the very thing that pushes you closer to your divine purpose. God can use their opposition to refine you, to teach you valuable lessons, and to strengthen your character. Sometimes it's in the heat of opposition that we grow the most. When things are easy and we face little resistance, it's easy to become complacent or take things for granted. But it's through the trials and the challenges, many of which are orchestrated by those who oppose us, that we are shaped into the people God intends us to be. Just as gold is refined in the fire, so too are we refined through the challenges and opposition that life throws our way. God uses the very tactics of the enemy to build us up, to prepare us for the blessings he has in store for us. It's through the hard times, the opposition, and even the betrayal that we learn to lean on God more fully, to trust in his plan, and to develop the resilience needed to fulfill our calling. What God has shown us through the lives of those in Scripture is that no enemy can thwart his plan for our lives. In fact, their attempts to harm us often set the stage for God to do something incredible. Think about how Jesus' death on the cross, which was meant to be the ultimate defeat, became the ultimate victory for humanity. The enemy thought they had won, but God was using it to fulfill his greater plan of salvation for all mankind. Similarly, the opposition you face today, no matter how severe, is not the end of your story. It is merely a stepping stone that God will use to fulfill his purpose in you and through you. When you are faced with enemies, whether they are individuals, circumstances, or even internal battles, you can find peace in knowing that God has already taken care of the outcome. He has a way of turning the very things meant to destroy you into the very things that elevate you. Trust that he will use everything, every challenge, every opposition, every lie, and every betrayal for your good and for his glory. Even in the darkest moments, when it feels like your enemies are winning, remember that God is working behind the scenes to turn it all around. His purpose will not be thwarted, and you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more equipped to fulfill the destiny he has for you. God knows how to use your enemies to bring you closer to the plan he has for your life, and his ability to turn things around is limitless. God is in control of your destiny even when others try to interfere. The world around us often places emphasis on what others think, say, or do to influence our path, and it can sometimes feel like our future is dependent on the opinions and actions of others. However, God is the ultimate orchestrator of our lives. No matter how much others try to manipulate, hinder, or control your destiny, they cannot change the plan that God has laid out for you. The truth is, God's will for your life is stronger than any force that may rise up against you. He has already established your steps, and no human, no matter how powerful, can redirect the divine path that he has designed. When we understand that God is in control of our destiny, it frees us from the pressure of seeking approval or validation from others. It allows us to walk confidently, knowing that the opinions of others do not define us and that their actions cannot derail the plans God has for us. Others may try to sway you, discourage you, or even sabotage your efforts, but they do not have the power to dictate where you are going. Only God holds the key to your future. His timing, His purposes, and His will always prevail. Consider the story of David, a young shepherd boy chosen by God to be the king of Israel. His own family, especially his brothers, doubted his calling. The prophet Samuel was sent to anoint a king, but when he arrived at David's house, David was not even considered. His brothers were tall, strong, and impressive, but God told Samuel, man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart, despite the fact that others didn't see David's potential. God had already chosen him to be king. No matter how much his family, his brothers, or the nation of Israel may have doubted or overlooked him, God's plan for David's life was unstoppable. David eventually became one of the greatest kings in Israel's history, and through him, God fulfilled promises that affected generations to come. Similarly, your destiny is not contingent upon the approval or rejection of others. God has set your path before you, and He has equipped you with everything you need to fulfill your purpose. People may not see the full potential within you. They may misunderstand your calling, or they may try to put obstacles in your way, but God's purpose cannot be thwarted. Just as He positioned David for greatness, He is positioning you, and He will open doors for you that no one can shut. He will lead you through challenges and will provide the wisdom and strength to overcome every opposition. There will always be voices that seek to tell you that you're not good enough, that you're too old or too young, or that you don't have what it takes. There will be those who, out of their own insecurities or misunderstandings, try to limit your potential. But you must remember that those voices are not the voices that determine your destiny. God's voice is the only one that matters. His call on your life is unshakable. His love for you is unchangeable. And His plan for you is unbreakable. Trust in His leadership, because when God is in control, no one can change what He has spoken over your life. At times, it may feel like others are trying to push you into a certain direction, force you into a mold, or make you conform to their standards. However, understand that your future does not belong to them. Your future belongs to God, and He has uniquely equipped you for the path He has set before you. As long as you remain aligned with His purpose, He will guide you, protect you, and make a way where there seems to be no way. Even when it feels like doors are closing, or when people around you seem to be standing in your way, remember that God is still in control. He may be closing doors because He has something better in store for you. He may be shifting things in your life because He knows exactly where He is taking you. Trust His timing. Trust His process. God has the final say in your life, and His plans for you are far greater than any obstacle or opposition you may face. No one can interfere with the destiny that God has ordained for you. Even if it seems like others are blocking your path, trust that God is either moving them out of the way or moving you in a new direction that aligns more closely with His perfect will. He is the ultimate authority over your life, and He will ensure that nothing stands in the way of His plan for you. Keep your faith strong, continue walking in His purpose, and know that the God who holds the future will always lead you toward your divine destiny. In conclusion, no matter what others say or do behind your back, no matter the opposition you face, and no matter the challenges that seem to come from every direction, remember that God sees it all. He knows what's happening, and He is in control of your destiny. His purpose for your life is unshakable, and no one can stop the plan He has set in motion. Trust in Him, because while others may try to derail you, God is using every situation for your growth and advancement. Keep your faith anchored in His promises, and walk with the assurance that His divine plan will always prevail. When you trust in God's sovereignty and His purpose for your life, you can rest assured that your destiny is secure in His hands.